game. How are you feeling? Are you itching to get down there?
Yeah, excited. Just tidying up last couple things. Want to have really productive practices today and tomorrow, and then also when we get down there the night before. Obviously, still, no matter what, you still feel those feelings of excitement to watch the guys get to go out and play. And as many of them have said over the last week, we're ready to go play somebody else outside of our own guys in a different jersey. And that is a very encouraging thing for us to be feeling right now. But I don't want that to get ahead of the importance of winning today. And I find with this group or any group that we've had, or even myself as a player, I just always wished I'd just continue to stay in the moment and take care of today. So plenty of learning moments that need to happen today. Tons of defensive review, aggressive offensive stuff, trying to challenge them even more than we have in the past. So, but obviously you're doing a lot of game prep, trying to figure out all the thises and that's and who's doing what and where, and which I'm sure those questions will come soon.
Who do you think are going to be the leaders of this team? Because we always default to whoever's stats are best or whoever the oldest guy is. And if they're both, then we really assume that guy's the guy. But is it Dax and Kleine because, and then your catchers and older infielders because, or is there somebody else who you think could be leaned on in that way?
It is. Well, I guess from the outside perspective, we can easily assume those things, but in the 4 agreements, one of them is never make assumptions for knowing what's going on. I think at any given moment, any of those guys can be a captain for that moment that's needed. It depends on the situation. Obviously, there's some guys with more experience that they're going to be called on to jump in and rally the troops or calm tempers, I guess. I think it's a mix. There's no doubt that Kleine and Witt, because of what they've done, Zed because of how hard he works and having pitched in the World Series and being a sophomore now. But I also think that some of our freshmen really want it. Right? They want to win it all. They see the pictures of the dog piles and they hear the stories, and so they have that aggressive nature to go out there and go get it. And I think that's going to inspire. So actually the other day, after one of our scrimmages, I had laid note. I said, there's a handful of guys on our squad that are a little more reserved, quiet on the field, and there's a handful of other guys that are, some would say, over vocal. And I think the combination of those two, when we finally get to be in one dugout, that's going to be how a team really bonds together and finds ways of success. And as we separated them out when we were scrimmaging, it was a bit of that. Let's see how maybe some of the quieter guys handle with the big loudmouths, and let's see how maybe more of a speedy team handles more of a slug team. And so we're just trying to find that dynamic, but understanding when we blend together, we are a really strong force. I'm a proud papa, so I got 37 guys in there that you give me a name and I feel like I can talk about for a really long time. And I think they each have experience in different realms, whether it's on the field or off the field. And one of the most important things is just controlling between your ears when you're out on the field. And depending on the situation, young guys might be letting yesterday wrap around them. Sophomores have their own pressures because did I play a ton last year? How can I get in the lineup? Do I need to press on this hit right now? The only way I'm going to play tomorrow is if I produce today. Those feelings. And then juniors, it's how am I going to impress everybody in the stands? How am I going to get drafted? All those things. Seniors, is this my last year? Do I have 5 more months or 4 more months? If it goes good, I got 5. If it goes bad, I got 4. And is there life beyond that? There's all these things that can jump into our brain, and I think it's a great mix of players and coaches that each guy can lead in those moments and reel everyone back into the present moment. And so really, I think that's what we actually talked about in our meeting this morning is instead of us always trying to jump in and try to fix everything, also grabbing a guy by the sleeve and saying, hey, you want to help out and provide some wisdom here. So you're calling a guy up to the opportunity and also resolving the situation, giving someone more experience points. So it's a cool little art form to wrap your mind around, but hopefully 37 leaders, including the staff.
Going back to last year, you know, the lineup changed, but you were pretty consistent 1 through 9 of who was out on the field. Do you kind of view this year's team as like you'll be evolving it kind of through this opening weekend? There'll be changes at spots, or
Yeah, staying flexible. I mean, I do like the depth that's provided out there at every position. How we go about our defensive work too. Guys are constantly moving. Without maybe the catchers are primarily sticking behind the dish and doing that job. It takes a lot of work, as all positions do. No discredit to all the other ones, but maybe have a little favoritism towards the catchers. But I think it's matchups. Some guys are really good offensively on the bottom of the zone. Some guys are good on top of the zone. Some guys are maybe better at off speed. Some guys are better at, crushing heaters. Well, as Gibson would probably refer to, we're all good at hitting fastballs. And so I think it's reading the body language, reading their recovery. Are they in a good spot to go out and compete today? Just the more present we are with the guys, we'll have a good handle on who's ready to go out and compete today. And there's going to need to be adjustments throughout the season, player to player, moment to moment. And it's really hard when you're in season to make adjustments because the fear of I'm working on something, it's going to take me away from being productive in the games. But it happens every year. Maybe a guy needs a little bit of time to get right and just make a small adjustment. And sometimes you can allow them to do that in the game too. But we've encouraged our guys in that, hey, even if we do have a bump, you should feel really good because you got a guy right next to you on your right and a guy on your left that can also do that job at a high level. And if what we're focused on is the team being successful, that's a great place to be. If my job is to go pitch inside today, I shouldn't be, can I do it? It's my guys need me to do it, and therefore I am going to do it. So it's just deflecting it all off of our inner selves and saying I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. And I do think that if we have that mindset, there is going to be some flexibility. We have some guys that can really run, and maybe they're going to get called on to do just that, go run in this moment, even though the other guy maybe wanted to stay in the game. If that run is really important to put on the board right now, then we're going to have to do that. So I don't know. I could see all different types of ways going this year. I would love for each and every one of those guys to be on the field at all times. The beauty of only having these restricted rosters now is that when we scrimmage, every single guy is getting at bats. Every single guy is playing a position. There's no one sitting around waiting and hoping. It's what we have is what we have, and so guys are gaining experience a lot faster in that form.
What has Eli shown this last couple of weeks, and do you see him more in left or center?
He's been working both. He's played a lot of center field, so I've been pushing him out to left field so he can get more experience on that. Obviously, big time speed, and for any guy who's new to a program, whether it's a freshman or a transfer, there's always a little bit of like onboarding, trying to become yourself and get acclimated to the group. And I think we always have had a good group on doing that, pulling guys in. But the one tool we know he has for sure is his run tool. That guy is fearless on the bases. Actually, I'm trying to spark a little competition between the guys, between Talt and Hayes and Eli and shoot, whoever else wants to jump in. Glasgow can move too. He's not afraid. Rip's not afraid to run. Who's going to steal more bags this year? Kind of getting that competition going. I've seen that with Boz, what he did with guys when he was here, Melton, Meckler. I want him to terrorize on the base pass. I want him to be not necessarily aggressive. I want him to be alert and put pressure on the defense, however that looks.
And now you can almost have an NIL deal for that. Just get the right sponsor, and there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. That's if you put the word out, let me know if we find somebody on that one, like a NASCAR thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get a tire company there.
I'll think on that. Yeah, Michelin.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be saying these? I don't know.
Toyota, clearly.
There you go.
Yeah. Third, fourth starters. Have you begun to settle in on there?
Yeah, I think we'll have a decision by the end of the day for sure. We've landed on Witt and then Klein. Most likely, obviously, like we have Segura, Queen, Mendez, Morris, also guys that can do it. Scotty's done it before in the past. A lot of it early on is what are our needs day one, day two? We do feel like we have good depth in the pen, but what if we need to jump a guy and use him to get this game done? The nice thing is, say, well, do we want to name a starter on Monday or what have you? I don't know if we want to jump that far ahead yet, because what if our predicted Sunday or Monday starter is needed in one of those other games because the guy maybe went a little shorter than we thought, or then the beauty is we like our depth of our bullpen, so it might be everybody gets a little touch out there on Monday, which we've seen before. But I'm gonna say Witt's gonna start on Friday. I know that.
Tough decision for you.
I've been thinking
Lot of
about it for a
debate.
while. I don't even think I've officially told him. Just keep him on edge a little bit, all right?
Run him out there on Monday, see how he takes it.
No.
Same opponent.
No doubt, same opponent. But I mean, Witt's gonna, again, he's one of those guys. Wherever they want me to take the ball, whatever you need me to do, and how he operates in practice and around the clubhouse, it's very selfless. He's that kind of guy.
Has anyone emerged among the catchers? And do you want or need that when you have a pitching staff like you do?
Oh, you definitely have to be able to have some guys that can receive it, block it, and throw it. I honestly,
more than the others.
yeah, I'm feeling really good. Our whole coaching staff has been talking about this for a while now. We have 3 guys that can really catch. We have 3 guys that can really block. We have 3 guys that play catch really well, and 3 guys that have really good potential at the plate. What Hubbard and Galloway have done, bat to ball skills and controlling the zone, incredible. The power production that Vandenbrink has is pretty awesome as well. And so I'm just wondering if we can get 2 catchers at one time and then throw a DH in there too, how that works. I don't think that's in the rule book, but we'll see if we can squeak it by without anyone noticing. And so it's going to be like trying to find ways for us to be creative in matchups, and finding ways, because all 3 of those guys you really want in the lineup. And that's difficult when you have 1 DH and you have 1 guy that can catch. But respectfully, if they watch this, none of them are burners on the base pass necessarily. They get to where they need to be, there's no doubt. But if there was ever a situation where we needed to run for one, we do have the depth to run, and it's a beautiful thing. And they trust one another as well. Their relationship has continued to grow. And so it's like, hey, together we're going to get this job done. And then trusting in us to put them in the right situations to be successful. But man, I feel really good about all 3 of them right now. And I think anyone across the country would be, eager to have one of those guys starting for them.
You have, tall last year with experience at the top of the lineup, but, other guys, even Singer was middle of the order usually. Just kind of what's that process of trying to find, the 2, 3, 4 guys who maybe haven't done that a lot, I guess?
Well, I don't know, embracing the idea of it doesn't matter where you're at in the lineup, your job is that moment. And so sometimes you'll put a guy in the 4-hole and the perception is, I am the power hitter. And I don't want any of our guys to think like that. I want our guys to go up there and win each pitch, and starting with the first one. Be ready to crush the first pitch if it's right down the middle, and if not, leave it alone. And, situationally, we've done a lot of stuff. We always have runners on base in our scrimmages. We always have runners on base when we're doing batting practice. So we're constantly trying to stack quality plate appearances, moving runners. Like Galloway is one of the guys we joke about as a staff that if there's a runner on third, if you can explain him, if there's a runner on third, less than 2, the runner's either going to score, right, or it's going to be first and third, because he's going to draw a walk, a hit by pitch, or whatever. So I think that, just going from an analytic idea of this, you go best on base, second best on base, slug guy, best on base, and down the road. Because those guys early on, or over the course of a season, are going to get a significant more at-bats than the guys that are down in the order. That's why you hit Boz leadoff, is you want Bazana to hit as often as humanly possible. The last thing you want is that guy that gets on base and gets the job done in pressure moments to be sitting on deck with 2 outs in the last inning. So, we may early on lean towards a little more experience, but I think some of those other guys are going to emerge, and the lineup may shift a little bit. I think one of my first couple of years here, Joe was always, giving me a hard time because every day was a completely different lineup. Maybe that's just what we thought was needed at the time, and also giving the guys a little check the lineup card and see where you're at, but it shouldn't matter. And there's times when I've even taken the lineup card and I've used whiteout and got rid of all the numbers of where they're hitting in the order and just put 1 1 1 1 1 1 all the way down. Or those days you want to really fire them up, go 4 4 4 4 4 4. You're all crushing today. So you get creative with it, but also not ignoring the fact that when you move some guys in the lineup, there can be some just thoughts. And I think that, as a mentor of mine had said, if any gaps in communication are usually filled with negativity, and I want to make sure that we're over communicating in some of those situations so that they're ready to go out and be themselves. And Coach Gibson's done a great job identifying with each of these guys who they are and what their role should be, and that's irrelevant of where they're at in the lineup. I don't want Singer, if he's sitting in the 3 or 4 hole, to be Babe Ruth. I want him to be AJ Singer, and that's a really good hitter and defender. Anyway.
All right, last one.
You mentioned, the 3 catchers. Josh only got here in November.
Yeah.
I'm curious how he's kind of slotting into this equation and, what
Yeah.
you're seeing from him.
A big praise to him the other day on how he's handling this. To be a freshman number 1 is always extremely difficult at a big program, but then to come in, the 1st of January, essentially just get his flight a couple of days prior to that and try to settle into his place and meet a whole bunch of new guys, be a long ways from home, the excitement of the season being upon us. He's handled it extremely well. He's been out in left, he's been out in right, he's been behind the dish, he's been at third, he's been all over the place. He will do whatever you tell him to do. He just wants to get better. And I pointed him out at the end of one of our scrimmages as an example of what an amazing person really looks like, because he handles it with such grace. He's tough on himself because he wants to be great, but he's gonna be jumping around and getting a ton of experience. He's got a really good arm. He has the will and the want. He's got a really good bat. And so we're going to continue to keep pushing him to develop and hopefully find ways to get him, acclimated as quick as possible so that the best version of himself can come out, because that guy can really help a ball club.
It's like having another Aussie in the dugout.
The guy, regardless of where you're from, if you're a great human being, it's awesome to have you in the dugout. But, to hear the stories and the connection with him and Travis and some of the other folks down there, and also playing against Stanford, where his brother is going right now, that they get to see each other compete against one another. It's a great story, but awesome to see Australian baseball continue to grow because there's a ton of talented and amazing people that are down there. And so we're very fortunate to have a guy like that infusion of joy and passion is always something we look forward to.
Thanks, Mitch.